Hello, my name is Robert Fitzmaurice. I'm a contemporary artist living in Reading, Berkshire, and I make paintings, prints and ceramics, and from time to time work in other media as well. My overriding interest is in the human figure and how it's been represented through history in different cultures, and I like to consider what those touch points are and make connections between those touch points to come up with my own particular compositions that say there's a lot more that connects us than divides us. My background, I grew up in Coventry, where the cathedral the new cathedral in Coventry had and still has a giant tapestry by Graham Sutherland, and the frontality of the Christ that's depicted there was a very early influence on the sort of art I wanted to make. And I was fascinated by the beasts that were depicted in there and how an artistic imagination can create all sorts of things that say something of the world but don't illustrate it. There's a certain sort of magic and presence that is conjured that I think is what I'm about and what my art is about. So my parents worked in education, and they both loved history and the arts in general. So in that sort of environment I started making art from an early age and getting it out there, getting feedback on it and so on. I then went to Sunderland to do my degree. I stayed up there for a year and then moved to Reading, where I was taught on my postgraduate course, my MFA, by the British constructivist painter Adrian Heath. At that time I'd also got to know the St Ives painter John Emanuel, who also introduced me to that school and some of the artists still alive, and that was a real privilege and an insight into what it was to be a practicing artist rather than to be a young art student with all sorts of hopes and dreams. Valuable lessons. I'm currently working on a series of paintings and ceramics for my forthcoming solo exhibition in Newbury at West Berkshire Museum. I think the biggest challenges of being an artist really, not just for me, I'm talking generally here, are maintaining consistency and integrity. Because if you compromise on either of those, then the message that you're giving out to the world is unstable and uncertain and of diminished value. And I think as one matures as an artist, working out what it means to be consistent in terms of your lines of inquiry and what it means to be full of integrity, how far are you prepared to go, for example, to get that show, to get that sale, to get that bit of promotion from somebody. Those are really important questions to answer, and they're going to be different for everyone. You've got to navigate and find your own way. If it was possible to talk to my earlier self, my young artistic self, I'd probably be saying two things. I'd be saying, you think you're working hard, work harder, and really think about what it is you're doing, but don't limit yourself, don't dig holes too early in terms of the sort of work you think you want to produce. You should be experimenting and finding your feet. Yeah, that is the path to true consistency later on. You need to build strong foundations by experimentation. The second thing I'd be saying is, for God's sake, just don't listen to your tutors. Get out into the artistic world, go to private views that you can get into and talk to practicing artists, get to know them, ask if it's possible to go and maybe visit their studio or have a bit of time with them for the cost of a pint or a coffee, and get to hear what they tell you. your conversations will be very different to mine, different to another person who's listening to this, but those are the kind of things I think a young artist really would benefit from. Regarding unconventional mediums and techniques, I'm always looking to subvert the received ideas around painting and composition, colour theory, etc. It's a bit difficult to go into that in too much detail in this short video, but yes, I do. I look at colour relationships and try and upset those, and I also work digitally to create images that are then transferred back into the analogue realm. Music, yeah. Sometimes I'll listen to Radio 3, I'll listen to some classical, I do like a bit of jazz, but it can really get in the way sometimes. So I really, really love silence. Yeah, good, isn't it? The best reaction I've had to my work is, well, it's a difficult one. There's a few stories here, but I'll give you one, which is a couple who bought a small painting of mine about Federico Garcia Lorca back in 1994, I think it would have been. And about 20 years later, they came to another exhibition, came and got me by the arm, quite elderly by then they were. And they told me that that painting has given them joy to look at every single day, which, I mean, as an artist, to hear that, you can't really ask for more, and it's certainly something money can't buy. What do I hope that people will take away from my work? One could get very philosophical, but I think it really boils down to three things. I really want somebody who encounters my work to feel ultimately more connected, and what I mean by that is connected through and rewarded by a slow process of looking and engaging with the work, letting the work in, and maybe feeling more connected to their own imaginations, their own experiences, and step forward together. And ultimately feel more alive, that art should actually make you feel more alive and rewarded in this short time that we have on earth. That's my wish. So to find out more about me, please go to my website at www.fitzmaurice.works, where you can subscribe, browse and do all sorts of other good things. And find me on Instagram and follow at Robert_Fitzmaurice. Thank you, and hope to hear from you if you like what I'm up to. Bye.